Hi, welcome to Conversion Conversations. This is Cameron, and today I'm taking a look at Transformers Generations Studio Series Transformers, the movie Constructicon Scavenger. Man, that is even longer than if we just said Studio Series 86. But here is Scavenger in his, what do we call this, an Earth Mover mode. He looks, I'd say, all right. I have some issues with it right off the bat. We have some nice silver painted detail here and here on the ends, but I really think that there was enough budget to pick out maybe the holding bar or the rollers for the treads. That would have been super nice. I wish that the treads were black. I recognize this is like, I guess, how he appeared in the show, but I do wish the treads were black at least. We do have some paint on our little cabin section. I am having an issue I wanted to show. I'm going to sand it down, but I know this is a frequently mentioned issue that this side doesn't tab in on these toys, which is really unfortunate. It's a quality control issue. It seems like it can be fixed if we come in and we're just going to sand down in that tab there. It'll slot in nicely. But then also, I feel like things don't hold up very well. It's not a very cohesive silhouette. I think that I was looking to see if this needed to be turned one way or the other, but no. We've got our grippy steel platform up here. We've got our side panels here, so I think this is the correct orientation. It just doesn't line up very well, which is unfortunate. Other than that, he does not have any casters, which is a big shame. I feel like this would not be hard to put in casters on the hip sections. And then not on the toes, but on this section here to put in 4 casters to let him roll, which would have been nice. And then just some more silver paint here and there would have helped him feel a little more premium. As is, we do have in the digger arm, we have some articulation. We can go up and back pretty far. We can twist, which I appreciate. We have a hinge up top, which I appreciate. And the shovel itself articulates, which is a big win for me. If you don't remember, comparing him to Constructicon Scavenger, while Constructicon Scavenger does, I think, have a smoother line here, does have casters on the bottom, which I appreciate, does not have any sort of articulation in that shovel section, which I think is unfortunate. But here they are together. You can see kind of the deluxe size versus the Voyager size. And obviously we have 2 very different shades of green. But we do have 2 Scavengers that I think still look pretty neat. I guess this is another thing I like, this silver paint up top. Again, I think this goes to trying to be like movie accurate, which had, simplified animation models and things like that. But we do have some trade-offs here where we have silver on the treads versus the other. Now, in terms of his buddies, we do have 5 Constructicons in hand at this point. And if you remember, I am doing both a giveaway for Devastator as well as a Studio Series set will be in our Extra Life raffle, already is in our Extra Life raffle. So if you want a Devastator and you haven't got your hands on him, there are a couple ways to get him. But here is Scavenger with the other Constructicons so far. We're just missing Mixmaster, but as a cohesive unit, I think they do look pretty good together. In terms of Scavenger's transformation, it is very simple. The Studio Series Deluxes feel very, very simple. We can take off his gun. We can push back our shovel arm, split and rotate our legs, pop out our toes and heels. We just got to get like a nail in here. There we go. Pop that out. And same thing on this side. Get in. I specifically didn't trim my nails because I had so much trouble with that. We can bend those knees. We can come in up top and we're going to separate out the tabs that will form the arm. We're going to lift up the cabin section, which lets us bring up our arm, shoulder armature, which locks in place with a nice little click. I do appreciate that. We can close around our chest pieces on both sides, open up our head, close it, just flip out our hands on either side. And here is Scavenger with a weapon in hand. And I'll say he looks okay. I think he does have a pretty nice head sculpt. I like that very classic G1 head sculpt. I like the paint on his chest, the little hole kind of implied behind his Decepticon symbol looks neat. But these proportions are just a little wonky to me. I think that his torso is overly long, and maybe there could have been a cool telescoping joint in the legs to make the legs a little longer. That would have been some additional nice engineering that I think would have given him a little more value. We can also, I did forget, this piece does tab in to lock things in nicely. I think he looks okay, but I just don't love Scavenger's design in general. In terms of articulation, we do have some wiggle. We don't really have any tilt, which is really unfortunate. I wish that head sculpt, it looks nice, but I wish the side pieces were cut up so we could tilt things a little bit. We can go 360 on the arms. We can go out that far. We do have a little bit of butterfly jointage because of how large a ball joint this is, which I appreciate. We do have bicep swivel. We don't have any articulation on the hands other than they can curl in. They are interesting in that they are painted. They're purple plastic and painted green, and I wonder why that had to be that way. We don't have any waist articulation due to transformation. We can do the full splits. We can kick up 90 degrees, kick back way further than 90 degrees. We do have thigh swivel. We have a 90-degree knee bend, and we do have ankle tilt. So again, you can get your Scavenger in some deep bends as he's coming in to blast an auto punk or two. And I think he looks pretty good overall. If we're comparing Scavengers, we actually do... we got to move the camera up a little bit. Now, this copy is obviously a little on the loose side. He's had some love over the years. But we can see kind of our different sizes. And again, this is what I'm talking about. Like this sort of simple telescoping thing just helps Scavengers like proportions a little bit. And yes, my copy has a loose ball joint, but that can be fixed with some future floor polish. But yeah, I think just some sort of extension here would have been really, really nice. It's weird that and I guess it is technically a smaller size class, even though Combiner Wars Devastator is less expensive than Studio Series. But it is weird to me that in the years since Combiner Wars, the engineering has gotten a little less interesting on these toys. I'm totally fine with Hasbro saying, hey, this Devastator is going to be smaller, so it scales with the other combiners, Studio Series, yada, 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 whatever, that's fine. But I think that a lot of the good tricks here, and there's not a lot here. This is a pretty basic toy, but this one is unfortunately even more basic. Now, that being said, he does still look good next to all his buddies. As 5 Constructicons, I think the team looks pretty good, and I am looking forward to getting the 5th member. But it's one of those things where my recommendation here doesn't matter. If you want the Constructicons, you're going to get them. If you don't want them, then there's no world in which someone would get one. I feel like that is an insane thing to do. I don't think any of these are worth it individually as toys. I think they're unfortunately too expensive and they're too simple, but you're not getting them for their individual toys. You're getting them for the box set, which hopefully we're going to be doing a review on soon, because I do have on the way my Mix Masters. So we are hopefully this week or maybe next week, we'll get a review of Mix Master, and then we'll do all 6. We'll do the Devastator, and when we do Devastator, we will be doing a full giveaway of 1 Devastator for a special treat, as well as having a giveaway for Extra Life, because one more time, I do have 2 full Devastators. So one will be a free giveaway, and one you'll get a chance to win by donating to Extra Life. But we got to wait for the Mix Masters to arrive. And for now, that is it, everybody. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one. Bye!